Snippet, your YouTube channel, and in today's video we are about to see how to play around with inventory masters in Tally.ERP. So when I go for inventory masters, I'm about to put two different videos here because I just want to differentiate the usage of it betterly. But in the first video I'll explain most of the component that we are about to do. So let's see how to do that. In our videos today we are concentrating on opening up a stock additions to our list. So we can either maintain a stock here or how to add an opening stock in Tally for the first time when you are trying to add an inventory details into Tally. When I'm working with inventories in Tally, so we normally have two different varieties of dimension that comes in play. So let's see the difference of on screen, but I'll do anything and everything on Tally.ERP. That'll be the easiest way of doing it, and it is much more organized compared to the one which we had on Logic earlier. So let's see how to do that. So I'm going to open our Tally.ERP 9 and I'm going to open simultaneously the Tally Prime 2. As we are learning from an educational version, so we have some difficulties will be there in the usage front, but again I will be adding the business versions also in here, so that will allow us to do things better as we go forward for the next level of our program. When we touch vouchers, we definitely need the license version. So now I'm going to just jump to the first logic. So I'll give a T here to get into the list here. I'm going to take a new company. Let me minimize this and then take the Tally here and then go back to the work in educational mode. Let me create a new company here. The company name that is mentioned in here is inventory. So let me keep that name itself as inventory, so that inventory or stock details. So here I'm not going to concentrate anything beyond than naming them. Other than that, the rest of them are going to be normal. To save our data, I'm going to give a Control A, which allows you to save the company here. And when you save the company, you can see the first screen is very different from what we are about to see in our list. So I'm going to use a create company here. So I'm going to create a company here, and then you can see that I'm going to again do the same name here also. So inventory or stock details. And then I'm even here I'm not going to bother much. I'm going to just take up the data as it is. And when I save it, now the difference between the Tally.ERP 9 and here is in Prime it will ask you a question: what are the configuration that you would like to set up before you start a company? So I'm going to keep the inventory alone available here. I'm going to set this GST option as out for the equation, but as we go forward we will learn GST in a much better pattern once we have finished our data. So now you can see the screens are very different here. Here we have a bifurcation of master, transaction, related report. Here again I have the same dimension, nothing much changed, but the masters have evolved better. So they have combined both the accounts and inventory together in one dimension here. Here we don't have such thing in scenario. If you want to go for the accounting information separately, then you have to go for the inventory information separately. The screens are very different here. You can see that the stock group, stock item, units of measures are coming up here. And I don't see a category or a go down here, but I see voucher type here separately and a copy allocation details. Here I don't have the voucher type twice because there they have two different menus to go, so that they have to give the voucher type twice. But here I can choose a voucher type once in here, so I can see all of them here. So when I go down here I can create a new one. If I see, or if I go to the alter option and go for the voucher type, you will see all the voucher types including my delivery note, which is a part of our inventory. And then you can see that there will be material in and out, and then you see physical stock, purchase order, receipt note, sales order, and stock journal. So this is the way we build our list. So let's jump into Tally Prime and see how to build a stock information So this is the exercise that I'm about to fill right now. So if you see this particular dimension, so I am running one kind of a product here that is called air conditioner, but I deal with different styles of air conditioners here. So I have a window air conditioner, I have split air conditioners, and the tonnages are very different and the products are different. And you can see that I even give spare parts to the respective company, and you can see the breakup coming up here, and then I have the quantity that I retain on so and so date. Maybe this is the last year's stock that I have in my books of accounts, and you can see the units specified there and the rates of each and every product that I bought at that price, and then the total value that I have at last as a stock in my list. Now I want to feed them all in Tally. So how do I do that? When I go to Tally Prime, again you can see that here we don't have anything by default. So when I go to stock group, it will be blank. When I go to stock category, it will be blank. Stock item will be blank. Units will be blank. Only the godown, you will have one default godown, that is called main location. Anyway, in our subsequent exercise, we are going to touch that main godown part separately, and I'm going to even use the category part in our next video. So in our current video, we are keen to do three components. One is units, stock items, and stock group. Whenever I start with Tally, I would like to prepare the units first because of one reason, because unit is something which we never deal anywhere other than this place. If you come to payroll, there you will deal with units again. The number of hours that we work, we may use them there. Other than that, we don't touch the units of measures much. So here when I come to the units of measures, I have two varieties of units I can create. I can create a compound and a simple. What do you mean by compound? When I say compound, it is nothing else. When I buy a product in one dimension, sell the product in the other one, then I need two different units of measures. That is where compound units comes into play. Generally, we don't do that in an inventory because that is an extra process that we do. Even if I buy a product in a different dimension and sell them in a different dimension, I preferably put the one dimension where I sell the goods, how the sales are done. So for example, I'm buying goods in tons and selling in kilograms, then probably I will keep a simple type of units, and then I happily create everything in kgs and punch the entire entry in kgs. In that way, I can literally make the life better for everyone. So we are about to see how to work on that part. So I'm going to use a lot of simple. I'm not going to touch compound, but when I come to the advanced level of Tally usage, I'll tell you how to use the compound also. So now I'm going to give the short name here, and then I'm going to give the general name that we used to do, and I always give a decimal portion 2 here because I want to see the report uniformly. I don't want a report weirdly. If you are looking forward for a 3-dimensional decimal places in some of your data, then you can add 3 here. But again, I'm dealing with an air conditioner here, so I don't think I might be ending up having a decimal portion here. And it is a call that you want to take here. If you don't want a decimal portion here at all, you can happily say no to it. So I can give the decimal portion as 0 here, because according to this point, I don't see that I will be using a decimal portion as such on the air conditioning component. But again, when I come to the spare parts, I might go for the wiring part where I take 105.5 meters or something like that. So I may touch the 2 decimal portions required, but again, in my opening stock feeding, I don't see any such scenario. But in the transactional level, if I may touch that 0.5 part of the decimal part of the meters, then I have to definitely have that. At that moment, I cannot jump and add a decimal places to my data part. Instead, I do it upfront. So I'm going to add the 2 irrespective whether I like it or not. The next point is I'm going to set the name here. You can see that there is no short name given, so I created myself here. If you want to make it like this, then I cannot keep the simple and formal name as same, so I have to just swap to something else or other. So I'm using the formal name as sets, and then I can keep this symbol as I don't want to give ST because people don't understand what is it. Then I'm going to retain that, and then again here I cannot do anything, so I'm going to add the dimensions here. And finally I have one more point here, then I finish the list. So now when I come out of the screen, you can see that I have 4 unit of measures that I have in this list. So now I'm going to come out of this, and I'm going to go back to my stock group again. This time I'm giving a stock group point. I'm going to create the first stock group called window air conditioner. Then the first group will always be primary, and then I'm going to set this as yes. I'll let you know when I show you a report what this particular option does for us in our reporting. The next part is going to be a split air conditioner, so where we have the second dimension of our list. Here, if I can either put them under window air conditioner or the primary will be a more suitable point here, because it is not a part of window air conditioner, it is another dimension of the same air conditioner. So if I have a group called air conditioner, then I might put them under that, but unfortunately I don't have a air conditioner group here, so I'm going to happily take that part into this list. And the third one that I have is the spare parts. Here again I'm dealing with both the products spare parts, so I cannot define them under one particular dimension, so I'm going to put them also in the list here. So this is how we deal with the stock group. I created this in one dimension because when I go to the stock item, I will get all these items completely. The first stock item that I have is Samsung 0.75 ton, and then I'm going to put them under Windows air conditioner, and then I'm going to call them numbers and give an enter, and I can add the dimension here 15 and then 6500, enter. So now what I want to do right now is I want to create all the Samsung air conditioners here, so that I'll save a little time here. So how do I do that? So I'm going to just save this, and what I can do right now is I can just recall the name that I lastly typed. To repeat the name that I lastly typed, I can use Control R here. That gives you the same name again. So I'm going to just change the fag part of the data, and then I'm going to feed the data here. But again, when I go to the respective dimensions, so I have to feed the right units of measures, or writes the quantities and rate another component. Then I'm just adding one more dimension here, so I can make the data entry operation a much faster one if I know exactly what I'm doing. That makes my life furthermore easier and a little faster too. Already Prime does a lot of work faster, but I'm trying to make it even more better. This is a hack that we use in Tally, even in the oldest version possible. I started using Tally in 6.3 version. That is the first version that I've learned in my career when I was in my second year of my college. At that time, I learned this trick from one of my tutor, and I'm going to do this next item right now. So I'm going to just add this. So again, the logic will remain same. Now I'm going to add the second dimension here. So I'm doing not in an order way, but I'm doing in a jumbled way. But this will save a lot of time when we are working in a larger data part. So for that, I'm using this dimension. So the next is, so I'm trying to feed the value what I see here. I'm giving you a hack up next in the list. So please try to follow me, and if I'm a little faster, let me know in the comments, so that I will slow down myself. So I'm just feeding the values first, and then I'm just repeating one kind of data, because I'm seeing 4 different products that I'm dealing with, and with multiple tonnages in it. So I'm feeding all the data. So this is going to save a lot of time when we are started working with one dimension of data. So all the products have the same tonnage, so that allows me to do things faster. So I'm going to just add all these dimensions. So I'm adding everything possible in a proper way that I can, and then I'm trying to feed all the values one by one. So now I have the 1.5 ton thumbs up. So now I'm not taking too much of time to feed the value. I'm doing it at a much faster pace, just because I have a complete control over my data. I know how many entries I'm giving in there, and then how many escapes that I have to give here to make the data work effectively. So my hand works with a perfect coordination there. This is because I started using this Excel or this particular Tally for a very, very long time, and now I'm almost touching the second decade of it. So now I want to, okay, I'm sorry, I think that I'm done. Samsung, okay, Godrej. So we have only 3 brands here, so I think that I've done the entire Windows air conditioner is here. Let me just check it out. So I should have 0.75 ton, 110, 1.5 ton, 210 in 3 brands. So let me just check this once, because I just was keep adding the information here. Yes, I think that I have did it. So it shows 171 numbers here, and I can see that Godrej is coming in 4 dimension, LG comes in 4 dimension, Samsung comes in 4 dimension. Yes, okay. Yes, I think that I finished it. So now I'm good to go. Now I'm seeing this value. So to confirm that, I can see 1262 300 is the total that I have in the window air conditioner total, gross total. I can see the same here. That's fine. So the next part I'm going to do it manually, because this is a very small set of items that we have here. So I don't want to really do too much of a thing here. But again, still I can work with the earlier dimension that I used. So the first part is I used 1.5 ton, and this is a split air conditioner. So this is the grouping is different here, and then numbers remain same, and I'm doing 3 numbers at 19,850. And if you want to repeat the same process, you can definitely do that. So I'm going to just come back here. The next part is 2.0 ton, and then split air conditioner numbers, and then 2 numbers at 25 650. Sorry, 25 650. Today I don't know why I'm having a lot of typography error today. It's really bad. I'm sorry about that. So now I'm using the next logic also. So now I fed everything in here. So I'm trying to do a little faster here. That's why I think that I'm doing a lot of errors. So hopefully I reduce my speed a bit, so that allows me to work with the data better. When I come to spare parts, I have again 2 different varieties or 3 different varieties of units of measures. So I have to follow them correctly. So take a little more time, read the data first, and then start working with the data better. And then I'm going to use this, and the next part is plug and wire switches. And plug and switch comes with a pair in it, and 40 pairs of 350 each. And finally I have wiring. I'll call this as wires, because I don't want to call this as wirings here. So I want to put them in this dimension. 100 meters of wire that I have here, 90 rupees per piece. So now I finished feeding all my opening stocks here. When I go to my stock summary, you can see the overall total that I have, 21,78,000 is what the value that I have. If you closely watch, I have only one line item of answer comes in place, and I can see that 5,01,000 is what I have on spare parts, 4,14,700 on split air conditioner, 12,62,300 in Windows air conditioner. So now you can see all of them coming up correctly. So if I want to see the same way that I want to see the data here, so I'm going to give an Alt F1. Again, this is not in the way in which I am looking forward in my book right now. So to make them work effectively, to see the same way that I want, I'm going to just come to the F12 and then configure or sort the data by descending order, alphabetical descending order, so that it typically gives you the way in which I would like to see them. You can see the total coming on top everywhere, and again inside the data I don't see that tonnage wise breakup here, because it comes by the alphabetical order. So that's the way the data works for us, and that's how the data moves in here. So as I gave the alphabetical order other way around, so even the stock item takes that dimension in play. So this is how we see our stocks. And if you closely watch, one of the stock doesn't have the total here, though, the spare parts, because in split air conditioner all my below items are numbers. Even in window air conditioner it is the same. When I come to spare parts, I have 3 different units of measure comes into play: meters, pairs and sets. So because of that, it cannot total them up or sum them up and show you the spare part information. So this is how I feed my stocks in Tally Prime. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned how to feed on opening stock. We have a lot more to come. We have a lot more to learn. Let's see how we are going to learn all of them. So I'm using the same old keyboard shortcuts, but again now it shows a different shortcut. When I press on Alt here, it says Alt F5 for detail and condense, and I'm still using Alt F1, which allows me to get my data done, because those who are used to Tally function for a long time from the very old version, for detail we always give Alt F1, so it's too tough for us to adopt to a new shortcut key. But if you know where the shortcut keys are available on the right hand side of your screen, that makes your life easier. With this I'll end our session, or with this I'll end our first the video number 5 here, which is how to maintain and or add an opening stock in Tally Prime. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I've touched 3 different scenarios here: stock groups, stock items, and units. In a subsequent video I'm going to go down, and later on videos I'll be touching the category also. I am coming out with a new idea, try to combine the stock category and the go down together in one dimension, so hope I'll do that. Probably I'll add the next video by today, so we'll complete our Tally inventory informations and finish it and move to the next point called voucher type. This is Vinod signing out from Tally Prime Snippet, video number 5 on Tally Basic Learning. Stay safe, stay at home, enjoy yourself, happy accounting.